Guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of September 5th, 2024. The current character challenge is Mortal Kombat Scorpion. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Lobo, Black Adam, and Joker. You can get at their lowest tiers as golds, silvers, and silvers, respectively. His passive is Fire and Blood, which is Scorpion's heavy, and then in brackets swiping combo, causes his opponent to suffer bleeding damage over 2 seconds, and his specials inflict fire damage over 6 seconds. He's got 950 attack, 850 health. He was last available in late April of 2024. Last reviewed late April of 2024. He's a missing challenge character, so he's last available before 2017, so it's been a very long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So what jumps out at me is his low stats. He has the lowest stats of all the Scorpions. Mortal Kombat X has 1,200 and 1,000. Classic has 1,400 and 1,200. And so when we did the review back in April, when we did the recap last week, we made a mistake and misidentified the pictured Scorpion on the Survivor Pack. And I thought I was looking at the wrong one, and I thought it was Classic Scorpion. It was Mortal Kombat. That would have been the best clue to this week, and that would have given us a better guess than what we made. So his passive, the way it's worded, is 2 abilities, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that, and it's way less than it should be. So there's a part where his heavy swiping combo causes his opponent to suffer bleeding damage over 2 seconds, and his specials inflict fire damage over 6 seconds. Now, the special 2, so when we're using him as a special specialist, special 2 is what matters, right? So he does 2 hits on that one move where there's a fire column out of the ground, and it's a little bit ranged, so that means you get a bit of distance, but the last 3 kicks are not ranged. So there's enough gaps that if the first 2 hits land and knock out the opponent, the incoming opponent will take damage from the kicks. And so the reason why his passive is sort of not nearly as good as we thought. So the other mistake we made was back in the April 2024 video when we were reviewing him, thinking that his special 2 damage was not reduced. In fact, despite damage over time being mentioned in his passive of specials inflict fire damage over 6 seconds, it is reduced. So in our collection with characters with comparable damage, they will do 83,000, more than 83,000 special 2 damage. His stated special 2 damage is only just under 42,000. It's exactly 50% of what it should be if it didn't have a status effect. So that's a bit of a ripoff. Now, the only good news, I guess, is his special 1 has the status effect. His special 1 does the right amount of damage. However, it's a special 1. That it does a little bit of extra damage is not that great.
Yeah.
So really what it is his special 1 gets extra fire damage over 6 seconds that shouldn't. It's not reduced. And it's a little bit misleading because he becomes less viable as a character if you're going to use him as your special specialist with so low damage on a special 2. Now, all right, so the first part sounds like it should be really good too. 20% boosted damage on bleeding is what he gets. Normally does fire damage. It doesn't give you that extra kick besides just, damage. Bleed damage, in my mind, is the best damage over time. And so you think, okay, that's great. Do a swipe combo and tagging in. But 2 seconds is so short. And like I said, his special 2 isn't ranged very much. So it's hard to do maximal damage within that 2 seconds that you've just bought yourself for doing a swipe combo. I mean, listen, good on them because a lot of the combo effects are tap combo ender effects.
Which are less consistent.
Right. So this is going to be super consistent, but it's just not that good.
Yeah.
So practically it doesn't make much of a difference in fights when you only have 2 seconds and you need to spend some of that time waiting for them to get close to you again so that you can have the special 2 hit, but his special 2 does reduce damage.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So there we go. We're 19 weeks into sort of this uncharted territory of the old challenge characters coming back. Next week, because we get an old challenge character and then a returning one, we expect to see Hawk Girl Regime.
Right, and that's assuming what we're guessing is right, and so far it has been.
The pattern, yeah.
For the first 19 weeks, I guess, since this
we know half of them, and we can guess at the other half. Yeah. This week's multiplayer reward is the Batmobile, which becomes a militarized Batmobile. When it's maxed out, it gives you a 25% max health increase, a Batman-specific ability, which is a 20% super move damage increase, an evolved Batman-specific ability, which is a 100% area effect. Opponent's team takes 25% damage from your super move, and then another evolved Batman-specific ability. There's a 100% 5-second invulnerability after your super move is activated. This was last available on the 1st of February 2024. Nothing's missing from this cycle, and it hasn't changed for a very long time. So expect Blackest Night Doomsday to be next week's reward.
Right. So some gears that they call legendary are legendary. This is not one of them, and it's because it's got a few problems. The first one is there's only one ability that isn't for Batman. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, you can say, well, there's a lot of Batman skins. You have lots of chances to use them, but the really good legendary gear aren't character specific, right? They're not signature gears.
In general, any character specific ability is significantly less useful. It loses like 90% of its sort of overall value.
Right, because I don't like to be defined by the gear so much as the character. I feel like the character should not enhance the gear should enhance the character.
Yeah.
So the second problem with it is the health boost is 25%. There's lots of other gears that give more. Brandishing Shadow, 40%. Batman's helmet, 40%. And that's also Batman gear. Fourth World Chestplate, 40%. They're all legendary gears. And all three of the other effects besides the health increase, they're tied to super move, which very seldom comes into play. If you're trying to do it, and do lots of super moves, and you're trying to win quickly, it might come in once a fight. Mm-hmm. It comes in a little bit more often if you're letting fights drag out to satisfy this Phantom Zone requirement of doing supers. Basic attacks in Special 1, Special 2, they make up way more of the damage than supers in most fights. So supers, because they're such a small percent, then you've got three abilities that not only are character specific, but just don't come into play very much unless you're doing purposefully doing supers to satisfy the Phantom Zone. Mm-hmm. That's the third problem. So the fourth problem is the effects on the super move aren't that great. 20% super move damage increase, 25% splash damage, 5 seconds invulnerable. So here's the thing. When the game was first released, the super move was actually useful. There was some value in hoarding 3 bars of power instead of doing a Special 1 or Special 2, mainly because it was unblockable. Then when multiplayer was introduced, the mechanic changed, and supers, which were up until then unblockable, could be defended. They use a different word. I mean, effectively it's blocking, but it's on a sliding scale, and you
it's like automatic blocking.
It's a different mechanic to do blocking. So a defended super can easily be less damage than an unblocked Special 2. And you can time a Special 2 to be unblocked. But no matter what happens, a super will get defended. I mean, maybe not a lot, and maybe it's a bit random, but it's still defended every single time.
Yeah.
The other thing, Special 2 can crit, super cannot. Never does. So even if your opponent has 0% of a super defended, a critical hit Special 2 can still do more damage.
Yeah.
So that's why the damage from a super is often less than a Special 2, which only costs 2 bars of power instead of the obvious 3 for a super.
Which is, I think, a real misstep, right? Because ideally, you want, if you're saving that resource all the way up, there should be a bigger reward for it. Yeah. It should be an exception when the super is not the best
And
move.
It used to be. When it was first introduced, right? It was because it's unblockable. And so in that context, a 20% boost to the super is really inconsequential. 25% splash damage is interesting, but not as good as 15% splash with Fourth World Godly Mace on Special 2, or even 50% splash on Special 1 with League of Assassins Knives. I mean, it's a higher percentage, but again, it's on a reduced amount of damage that's costing you more power. Now, the 5 seconds invulnerability is not bad, but it still isn't enough time to build up more than 1 bar of power, and Astro Harness, as a point of comparison, that invulnerability lasts, I think, 8 seconds. It lasts longer. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost 3 bars of power to trigger it. So if you could equip this gear without taking up a slot, I'd say it might be useful. But, it's the opportunity cost. Other gears are just so much better that it's hard to justify the Batmobile over any other legendary gear, even if you're Batman. And I can think of even some 2.5 and 3.5 star gears that would be more useful.
Mm-hmm.
So this gear, good for people who like to complete their collections, but not very useful as gear in fights.
Yeah.
To me, it's one of the worst 4.5-star gears.
I would say so.
Yeah.
There we go. Moving on to the store, we have the Femme Fatale pack for $24.99 Canadian. All prices in Canadian because that's the
only
currency we have access
it's
to.
The only currency that matters. I thought you were going to say it this time. It's the only currency that matters.
Yeah. It used to be 300,000 power credits back when they did more power credit packs.
And that was such a great deal.
Yeah, and it comes with animated Harley, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman 600. You know, they've got good synergy with each other, right? For 300,000 power credits, it's an amazing deal.
Yeah.
And for $24.99, it's a pretty bad deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also have the character bundle Darkseid Warren for its second week. We have the new pack Eternal Enemies Batman vs. Joker pack for 250,000 power credits. And it's guaranteed to contain 1 gold Batman or Joker character card plus 2 support cards. And then they say new Batman Ninja, Batman, and Batman Ninja or Joker added. So you get a 2.5% chance of Batman Ninja Batman, a 2.5% chance of Batman Ninja Lord Joker, a 9% chance of Red Sun Batman, a 9% chance of Suicide Squad Joker Unhinged, an 11% chance of Arkham Origins Batman, an 11% chance of Arkham Origins Joker, and a 55% chance of a gold character. And by those they mean Batman, Batman Beyond, Insurgency Batman, Insurgency Joker, and Killing Joke Joker.
So the interesting thing is, we have a video where we did pack openings.
Yeah, and we sort of looked at the approximate rate of getting each of them.
But we also got way different percentages than the ones that were stated. So take this with a bit of a grain of salt. The 5 ones that they don't mention by name, the 5 Batmen and Jokers, they do not mention by name, are not equally distributed. Proportionally, Killing Joke Joker, Insurgency Batman, and Batman Beyond were about the same percentage, and Insurgency Joker and Batman were about twice as common. So there's a lot in that 55% that's probably not worth getting, except maybe Killing Joke Joker.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I'll put the link in the description for our pack opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for the store.
Yeah, for any new packs.
Moving on, Phantom Zone has 1 week left. Fight 62 is still broken. Looks like we've got a double X.
That was
last weekend.
Yeah,
we had double XP for Labor Day weekend. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Lex Luthor, Batman, and Doomsday, and this coming weekend's should be Bane, Killer Frost, and Ares. You can check out the description for Devlin16's thread on the Reddit for the breakthrough cycle if you want to check that out yourself.
Right. So this is the first Thursday of September. So what we usually like to say, as far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something changes, which did not happen. However, this is the first Thursday of the month, and that's when we just go over in a little bit more detail just to highlight some of the important points, because we've already got a playlist with all the glitch videos. They are up on our channel all the time. You can look at them whenever you want, but just a few points of emphasis.
Yeah. So starting off, not working glitches, stuff that you could do at one point, stuff that if you're coming back to the game, like, we get comments from people that you might be looking to do this sort of thing again that you currently can't, because it's hardest to look up and find a negative, right?
Right.
There is no working glitch for power credits. On season 6, episode 9 of our Q&A, we talk a little bit more about one that was working at the time. I don't really see anybody talking about still using it, so I'm not 100% sure if it's working or not.
But the qualifier is that there's no working credit that we're willing to endorse.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And we talk about it at length there, and that it uses 2 devices, and there's just a risk. You can sort of do some glitchy stuff with it, but in general, it's the type of stuff that is kind of unstable that poses some risk to your account data.
Yeah, because when you're logged in simultaneously into one account with 2 devices, there's a real danger.
Or 2 devices with 1 account.
What did I say?
You said 1 account on 2 devices. Or, sorry,
Yeah.
we said the same thing.
Yeah, that was the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of other stuff, the glitch for getting repeated past multiplayer season rewards is not working. The glitch for getting early multiplayer season rewards is not working in a way that's exploitable. If it happens, it's usually a bad thing. There is no glitch to get through the Phantom Zone quickly, but you can always go fast.
We've got a playlist with some speed runs.
That's true. The glitch to let you get free energy without watching that video is not working. That's separate from time shifting to get free energy.
Yeah.
And now moving on to the working glitches.
All right, so you can play Phantom Zone repeatedly by resetting it. The challenge reset works, confirmed on Mortal Kombat Scorpion challenge. Just to keep in mind, they're basically the same thing. The mechanics of both of them are the same. So the challenge reset can remove Phantom Zone progress. Phantom Zone progress reset can remove challenge progress. So keep that in mind. A lot of times it's easy to forget. And for us, Phantom Zone is slower. So the progress in that is more valuable. But I think both of them are at times a little tedious. So just maybe be careful that your intention is to reset both when you're doing the glitch, because that's what's going to happen.
Yep. We also have a comment in the description from Tanmay Kakde. If you're on a version of Android that requires you to re-download a bunch every time you clear app data,
Like more than a gig.
Move stuff around instead of re-downloading, which is a lot easier on your Wi-Fi, on your mobile data, or just on your time.
Yeah.
The breakthrough glitch to let you play it repeatedly is still working. The airplane mode / refund glitch is still working. That's good for packs with random drops, also known as loot boxes by the game. And last, laugh tickets. It doesn't work for anything that requires an online connection because you need to be offline while you're doing it, which means that it does not work for Phantom Zone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Time shifting still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges. Super important. Return your cooldown clock back to normal before you finish.
Yeah, your like device time.
Yeah, because if you don't, it will interfere with the timing of events, so that certain things that are supposed to show up, like the next challenge or Phantom Zone, will not show up when they're supposed to.
Yep. And last but not least, sort of on a technicality, it's not working, but it's definitely not working. We have the promotion glitch where you can promote characters that are still locked. Hasn't had the right updates, right conditions since update 2.14. Years and years and years. So it's not testable. It's not usable. But we've never seen it not work. And the fact that they changed it so that the conditions stopped showing up seems like that was their version of a fix that meant that they didn't actually need to fix the bug itself for whatever reason. So there we go. And to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all of our lovely patrons on Patreon. That's Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Paulo Cesar Pablo 1 supporting us on the credited level, as well as 5x5 supporting us on the gratitude level. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.